son, we're about to go. But of course you'll never know where the ship's gonna take you. But we all know this is the Shannon Show. This isn't a romantic podcast.
I don't know what I'm talking
about. The stories will never run out. Banana thoughts or some wet socks trapping tight. Cause this is the Shannon Show.
Are you actually putting this on the podcast?
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Shannon Show podcast. A very exciting episode here today because not only are we joined by another bloomer, always love having bloomers on the show, my favorites. It is Kait Sue joining the show today. Kait, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for being here. You're on the Best Military Kids podcast. How does that feel?
Feels great. I really enjoy your podcast. I've listened to a couple episodes. I'm a huge fan.
I appreciate it. All right, you don't have to go that far.
Okay.
We get it. We're a huge fan. I wouldn't even call myself a huge fan of the stuff I make, but that's neither here or there. Best Military Kids podcast. So naturally, let's start with your personal military kid background. You're joining us today from Virginia.
Yep.
What branch is your family a part of?
My dad is in the Air Force. Yeah.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So where is he stationed?
Oh, he's stationed at the Pentagon right now.
Oh, wow. That's so. What's that like? What's his job like? I'm not sure how much is like secret, but is that different? Have you been at the Pentagon before? How long have you been living there? What is it like?
Yeah, we've been living here for around 2 years now. We moved from England. Yeah, he's
England.
I don't exactly know what he's doing. I just know he's doing some important stuff. Yeah.
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 I think that's pretty normal for Pentagon workers, but that's really cool. I don't hear that too often. You came from England. That's quite a change in scenery, isn't it?
It is. From
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't pick up on the accent though. That's good.
No,
we didn't want to lose you to them. That would have been a tragedy. Cannot have that. So did you live on base in England, off base? What was the school system like there too?
I lived off base. Oops. I don't know what I'm saying. I lived on base. I lived on base.
Okay.
Yeah, so our house was actually right in front of the middle high school, so I could walk to school from there, and I think that was pretty nice.
Gotcha. And you went to school with, what was the military kid community like? Was it not much? Were you the only American at your school?
It was like, I went to an on-base school since I lived on base.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, there was actually a lot of military kids there, since the base that I lived at was mostly where most of the military kids were stationed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a really tight, close-knit community, I would say, I guess. Yeah.
Did you spend a lot of time in the English community, I guess? I don't know what is it like?
Did I spend a lot of time with the Brits?
With the Brits, with the Brits.
Yeah, we were off base a lot, so we didn't stay on base. There was not a lot to do, so.
There wasn't a lot to do?
Well, not on base.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. And what part of England my British geography is definitely lacking, but was it London or not London?
I lived in Huntington, which is like around 15 minutes away from Cambridge, if that's easier for you.
No, it doesn't help at all. Sounds like not London though. That's like those are the options for me. Interesting. What was your favorite part about living there?
Oh, probably my favorite part was like the community, I guess, and like just I don't know. I feel like most people would say that the Brits don't have culture, but like I would say that it's definitely.
Is that a take out there? I'm not sure.
I don't know. It's definitely a change from America. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, where else have you lived then?
I have lived in Japan. I've lived in Korea and just here in Virginia.
A lot of overseas.
Yeah.
You don't see that too often. Usually, like people make maybe 1 or 2 stops, but you're only a freshman in high school and you lived overseas 3 times, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what's that like? Did you have to move from one overseas location to another?
Oh, okay. That's actually kind of confusing. So I was born in Japan, and then I moved to Virginia, and then we moved to Korea, and then we moved back to Virginia, but a different place. And then we moved to England, and then back to Virginia.
Interesting.
Another place again.
So you have like a little stateside refresher before they send you out again. So, that's very kind of them, I guess.
Yeah. I have this little sort of, I guess, thing to compare to living overseas and living in the States. So
yeah, I'm sure. So I'm assuming you don't remember too much of Japan then, right?
Oh no.
But what about living in Korea? Where did you live in Korea? Do you remember much of that?
Oh yeah, I lived on Osan. It was
Osan.
Yeah, I know a lot of people in Bloom that have lived on Osan.
I know Osan.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I don't remember much. It was kindergarten to second grade, so yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I don't know. It was a lot bigger there. We lived off base, so we were very involved in like,
Mm-hmm.
just like Korean community. I'm part
Yeah.
Korean, so like, that was like really nice.
Yeah. So what was that like? We're kind of getting ahead a little bit, but I mean, having Korean heritage already and then spending 2 years while you're so young in Korea,
Yeah.
do you think that had a large impact on you?
I feel like it did because I feel
Yeah.
like, what other like Asian Americans may not get to experience here.
Yeah.
Like, I got to experience. I got to, connect with my culture a little, even if
Hmm.
it's, not that much, but I'm
Yeah,
still grateful
still,
for
that's
that.
really cool. Like not a lot of people can say that.
Mhm.
That's really neat stuff. Well, talk to me a little bit about the moving process. What was it like for your family? What's your family's dynamic? Are you usually like the even keeled one? Are you a little more stressed? Like how
Oh,
do you usually react?
oof. I feel like our family kind of like ignores it until it's upon the moving day. So like you see no one talking about it, but boxes are
Yeah.
just disappearing out of our house, and then until it's
That's
moving
pretty
day,
funny.
and everyone's like, "Oh, we're leaving," and then
Yeah.
that's how it is.
Then it just happens.
Yeah.
So do you think that how do you think that impacts you? Like where does that ever bother you that you're like we're about to move across the world and nobody's talking about it?
I feel like in a way it kind of like eases me into it because
Okay.
it doesn't put a lot of pressure on me because it's already a hard time moving and
Yeah.
leaving all your friends, and it's even harder when you're gonna be so far away.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I feel like sort of the avoidance kind of helps, I guess.
Yeah. Just kind of not talking about it, but everyone knows. Are you guys still preparing though? Like you're still taking the steps necessary to be ready to acclimate, or is it just like
Oh
we'll
yeah.
worry about it when we get there? Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, so whenever you move somewhere new, at this point, you're in high school, you've had your own bag of moves and experiences now. What are some of your strategies when moving to a new place? What are some of your go-to methods for trying to acclimate, maybe try to make friends and get
Mhm.
involved?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It never gets easier. I will say that. It's a tough
It
question because
doesn't.
it
It really
doesn't ever
doesn't.
get easier.
I would say probably. I mean, I don't really have a strategy, but I do.
Sure.
Well, I guess I kind of do. Like,
Hmm.
you walk up to the first person you see and you say, "Hi, like,
Yeah,
how
just
are
try your
you?"
best. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would say like also joining sports and stuff.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in Nova, sports are really competitive, so that's not really an option anymore.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, forget that. I hate that. I hate that kids like can't do what they want sports wise because that's just and it's so important for military kids especially because
Yeah.
that's a way that we can really connect easily. I know because
Exactly.
you know I played some baseball a lot growing up, so
Mhm.
it was really easy for me to meet other kids that way. You just go to baseball practice and you don't have to do a lot of talking. You just kind of like kick the ball around, throw the ball around wherever you do, and it's a great way to bond with new people. So,
Yeah.
did you said you played soccer? Is that how you made some friends as well?
Yeah, I feel like you said about how sports is kind of like important
Yeah.
for military kids. I feel like it's a lot easier to make friends through sports and clubs and to build a
Mm-hmm.
community through shared interests and stuff like that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then that you're meeting generally like-minded people, which can also be really helpful. There's something to build that friendship off of. That's great.
Mhm.
How do you think? I don't want to get into Bloom just yet. I'm trying my best, and everyone who
Okay.
listens to the pod knows. Like I try to restrain myself from mentioning Bloom, like my very hardest every single episode. But what do you love most about being a military kid? Just for you. We'll get into more of the difficult stuff, but like I like to
Mhm.
start with the good a little bit. What do you think are some of the great things that have come out of your experiences?
I feel like I don't know, like moving around, which is kind of like
Yeah,
what military kids do. But I
yeah,
really enjoy indulging myself in other cultures and
yeah.
seeing, what the world is actually like
Uh-huh.
rather than, other kids who have only seen it from behind a screen. So,
Yeah. It's really hard to explain that to other people though, right?
yeah.
Because they ask you like what's the best and what's the worst, and it's moving. Moving is the best part and the worst part, which
Yes,
is like
exactly.
it's really strange, but you can embrace it and it's probably better for you in the long run, but in the moment it sucks. It really does.
Yeah.
So what are some of the harder lessons you've learned, you think? What's some of the more difficult times that have
Oof.
made you better off in the long run, but at the moment, like I said, they suck.
Yeah. I feel like independence is something big because you
Yeah.
kind of at some point have to learn how to depend on yourself or how to,
Hmm.
you know, think of yourself
Yeah.
first before, getting into things. And I
Yeah.
feel like I've learned a lot more about thinking ahead of time, I guess. I don't know. That doesn't really make any sense, but
no, it does. I think you're absolutely right, because whenever you move somewhere new, you're on your own. I think that I've had peers before who are really like selfless people, really put others first, and that can kind of be detrimental in a really like tough way, because there's not always going to be people there to bring you under their wing whenever you move somewhere new. You have to rely on yourself. You have to rely on your skills and your ability to make connections. So it can be difficult, and becoming independent is a really important lesson that military kids unfortunately have to learn probably well before they should. So yeah, that's definitely part of it. I can't wait any longer. Let's get into Bloom. How did you get involved with Bloom? How did you find out about them? Bloomer Kait is on the show now.
Hi guys. Okay.
Yes.
So I've actually been interested in Bloom for a while. I followed them since they've had like, I don't want to brag, but I followed them.
Oh, you were one of the day ones?
Yeah, one of the day ones. I really enjoyed their content. I believe that they had applications at some point, and I think I missed a deadline for that. So I was pretty upset about that. But recently, when I saw their applications open again, I was like, wow, it's finally my time to shine. Like I can connect to other people that like, like are just like me. And I felt like that'd be really fun, because I'd never really gotten into my military kid identity, I guess, before. Yeah.
So they're always trying to recruit more minions. I tell them they need to send their rejects my way. I need some minions. It's not fair. They're taking up all the military kids.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about Matthew and Elena. Have you got to know them a little bit? Obviously, they're the founders. I'm not sure how much they're running stuff now, but are they brutal dictators?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. Yeah. I knew it.
They have a little side cult in the Discord group chat. It's hidden under the information tab. Yeah.
No shock.
Yeah, no, they're wonderful. They're very sweet. I know I've talked to Elena a little. Matthew, I've talked to more about like general things, but I did meet Matthew's family before I met him. So
that's interesting. How'd that come about?
I know this is already a question on your sheet, so I feel like I'm jumping ahead here. It was actually at a Bloom event, and Matthew's younger sister was there, and then so was his family.
Well, talk to me about that Bloom event. That seems like a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it was, it's an event called Through Our Eyes. It's an exhibit hosted by the Torpedo Art Factory, and they basically put up this show, military kids, like over the summer. They photographed their moves so that you could really see the move through their perspective, or, through their eyes. So we brought out our table to go and say, here we are, here's Bloom. So
you guys had a bunch of pictures of military kids from their perspective moving?
Yeah, it wasn't hosted by us. We were just invited to come and watch. But
no, that's really cool. And where was that?
That was at the Torpedo Art Factory in Alexandria.
Alexandria, gotcha. So not too far from you. That worked out well. Perfect. Awesome. That's really cool stuff that you're able to get involved so quickly, because you said you applied not too long ago, and now you're already doing in-person events for a great organization.
It's crazy.
That's really cool. Yeah.
It's kind of scary how much they trust me with this.
Yeah, exactly. They're just handing you the reins right away. They're like, "Oh, it's on you now, Kait."
Yeah.
That's so great. What do you think, now that you have a job where you're trying to connect with other military kids, what do you think that's taught you about yourself, if anything? Because I know for me, when I was growing up as a military kid, like I wasn't too gung-ho about my military kid identity. I didn't really care that much about it. But now that you're in a position where that's like kind of your job in a really cool way, has your perspective changed at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like it was kind of like one of those things before, like that you wouldn't really talk about to people. Like it'd be kind of one of those weird facts, like, oh, my finger bend's weird, or like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just you just put on the list for the icebreakers.
So it's like, it'd probably be at the bottom of the list of icebreakers. But now I feel like it's sort of the way that I introduce myself. People ask like, because I don't feel like I talk about it a lot, but I feel like people just kind of know. People ask me if I'm a military kid, and that's when I bring it up. And I'm like, hey, I'm actually part of Bloom. That's really cool. Like,
And they're like, oh my God, I know Bloom too. I'm sure. It's the best.
I haven't gotten that before, but I'm
okay, you should have roll with it. You had to roll with it. Oh my goodness. That was great press for you guys. Everyone knows about Bloom. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Yeah, everyone knows. I'm sure you've gotten that all the time, right? Right?
Yeah,
that's great. That's great.
I get approached at school with cameras.
Yeah, it's probably hard to get to your classes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh gosh, I feel bad for you.
Thank you.
That's you're so brave.
Thank you.
So what's been the best part of it so far? Has it been talking to military kids? I know you make you're a TikTok creator for them as well, a little bit of a
Mhm.
social media manager, I'm sure. Can you explain your role a little bit and then what you've enjoyed?
Yeah. So I'm a TikTok creator for Bloom.
Yeah.
Basically, I sit there and I make TikToks, and
Yeah, how cool is that?
yeah. I post military kid related content, and I
Yeah.
post things, to maybe get Bloom out there or get the word of Bloom out there.
Yeah.
But I feel like my main goal is to really put more content out there for military kids to see on their For You page and be like, hey, wait, I see something that's actually relating to me, like for the first time in my life. That's crazy. Yeah.
How important do you think that is for other military kids to see?
I feel like it's important in making them feel seen and making them feel like, hey, you're not alone in this. Like, there's people here to help you.
Yeah, that's what makes, whenever they see content like that, I'm convinced that's what takes it from the bottom of the icebreaker sheet, like you said. It's just something that they just so happen to be, to saying, hey, this is who I am. They kind of recognize that. And it's weird having someone else tell that for them, but that's what it takes sometimes.
Yeah.
You can say, you know what, wait, this has been my entire life and it's probably my most defining characteristic, and I should probably embrace it a little more.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's a
weird.
really unique lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, most military kids don't really talk about it. And like you said,
Right?
it's sort of it's a huge part of your life. Like, I don't know what happens. Some sort of like psychological thing.
I don't know what it is either. I think that maybe because like we're just kind of programmed just to go like one move at a time. It's just like we're trying to get through the mission in like a weird way. Like we're just like, we don't ever want any credit for it because we're just so used to it, like the moves and the deployments and getting through all that. Yeah, it's definitely a strange thing, but I'm so glad that you're bringing attention to it and making other kids feel comfortable, I'm sure. And we love military kid content creators here at the Shannon Show, of course.
you.
Yes. So something I know you wanted to talk about, and something that is really important and probably a little confusing for you as well, having lived in so many different places, is your Asian American identity. Just tell me a little bit about what you're passionate about with that and how that's changed for you over the years.
Oh, I feel like, when I was younger, my parents were really like into like, because I'm a first generation immigrant, but it's kind of weird since I wasn't born in America.
Yeah.
I was born on a military base in Japan.
Yeah.
So, that was a little interesting. I felt like they put a lot of effort when I was little into, making sure that I was connected to my culture.
Yeah.
But that kind of fell through when we couldn't really be close to other people like of the same minority or people that share the same culture. Because it's kind of hard when it's just them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's so important about that for you personally, connecting back to your culture and where you come from, as opposed to, just completely embracing wherever you are at the time? Because you've been in Virginia, England, Korea, I guess Korea. But what do you what does it mean to you?
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's important for me to embrace my roots and really realize where I came from. Like I said, I'm a first generation immigrant.
Yeah.
So like, I guess it's like, it's very important for me to, relate to these things that my parents have been through, or the things that my parents grew up with. And,
Yeah, it's really important to embrace where you come from. That's such an important thing, and you can definitely get lost. For all military kids of all descent, they can really lose sight of that whenever they're just trying to adapt or blend into a new place. You don't really think about, what your parents have done to get you there, or where your family comes from. So I can definitely see why that is a point of emphasis for you. How do you think an Asian American kid's experiences growing up in the military may differ from someone of another background, if at all?
I feel like when I like people of, people with culture, or like just anyone with like a sort of, how do I explain this? Like culturally ambiguous background can relate to. It's like, you want to connect to it and it's part of who you are, yet it's just very difficult with the resources you've been given.
Sure. So what do you mean by that with the resources? Do you think there's not enough done to kind of put emphasis on your culture?
When I say resources, I mean like kind of the community and people around you. Because yes, military life is great and I love military communities, but I feel like sometimes it's more focused, I guess, like...
No, you go, be critical. Like, no, you can speak freely.
I guess more focused on like the destination and their surroundings, because, it's not their job to, inform you on different cultures or inform you like on where you've come from, or to provide support, to, sort of like that.
So what would you like to see change then, if there's anything in specific? Because I know it's hard to think of the solution sometimes because this is just an observation of yours. But if there's something, is there like one thing in particular, like if I had this, that would have made me feel so much more comfortable?
To be honest, I don't really know. I don't
You don't
really
know?
think
Yeah,
that
it's a
there's
hard
anything.
question.
I don't really think that there's anything that a community could have done for me. But I feel
Yeah.
like, maybe just connecting to people with the same cultural background would have
Yeah.
helped. But like I said, that's not something that they can do. So
Yeah, that's not always the easiest, and sometimes it's not always as available, unfortunately, as it should be. But
yeah.
I can definitely see why that's important to you and why that would make you feel more comfortable in a new place. It makes a lot of sense. Where do you feel most at home personally? I mean, having to move it around so much, where do you feel like you are most comfortable or most at home?
Like place wise or
Yeah, place wise, or sometimes is it just where your family is? Is it like
um
a specific spot on Earth?
I would probably say like currently it would be where my family is. But
Yeah.
if I were to say like out of like all of my life, it'd probably be England.
Yeah,
But,
gotcha.
it changes for every place that I've lived. Like if I were to say like, in England, if you were to talk to me back then, I'd be like, the place where I feel most comfortable is Virginia, and then so on.
Yeah,
So,
it definitely changes because you form new roots in new places, so that's totally understandable. I always say though that home is where my mom is. Wherever my mom is, that is home, and I will always feel at home whenever she's around. And yeah, that never changes.
yeah.
Well, what are some other things that you're passionate about? Actually, wait, preposterous predicament time. I
Okay,
almost
pausing.
forgot, guys. Would you rather?
Oh, okay.
This needs to be taken with the utmost seriousness now. I mean, this is
Okay.
a Shannon Show staple. I mean, people are going to be looking to you for advice. They need to know your opinions on the question that I'm about to ask you. All the other
Okay, I'm
questions
so
I asked
ready.
you, hogwash. They mean nothing. This one is the one that matters. Are you okay?
Okay, I'm ready.
Ready to
I'm
go?
ready. I'm
All right,
ready.
let's do this. All right.
3 seconds on the clock. I'm playing basketball. It's time for an in-your-face disgrace. Are you okay? My nose is in my brain. Let me see.
Rather perpetually feel like you're walking through cobwebs. Everywhere you go, you just have the feeling that there's like a spider web like just grazing your cheek. Cobweb, spider web, wherever you want. Or you're only able to talk to other people in your loudest yelling voice. So every time you talk to someone, you're screaming at them. It doesn't matter if you're in a library or if you're at a sporting event, you're going to be screaming at the top of your lungs. Kate, which one are you leaning towards?
My comfort over others. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have to go with the yelling at people. I could not
Yelling
deal
at
with
people.
I
That's
couldn't
so
deal with the
aggressive. I don't
cobwebs
take
all
you as
over my
that.
face.
That's going to completely change your personality.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So you just can't take the cobwebs?
Yeah, I'd be like, for the rest of my life, if there were just cobwebs all over my face, I would not survive.
What if it just feels like it? What if they're not actually there, but it just always is like annoying, but they're not like real? Does
That's
that
even
help?
worse because you can't brush them off. They don't go away.
Yeah. That's actually a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah, I see where you're going there, but I couldn't scream at like I'm trying to imagine like my first job interview and like I sit down and he asks me for my name and I'm not going to scream into the microphone now for our audio listeners, but I would scream Shannon Hyde back to him and I don't think I'd like my odds then. I wouldn't be able to go to quiet places. I don't know. I think I'd take a little bit of discomfort,
Yeah.
maybe, but it's pretty painful. I can definitely see where you're going with that one. I hope everyone else lets me know in the comments what they think of that preposterous predicament. Thank you so much, Kate, for answering that question for us. Very insightful.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about some other things that you're passionate about. I saw on Bloom's website that you're a very creative person, a little bit of script writing. Obviously, we already mentioned the TikToks, but talk to me a little bit about what you like doing in your free time, maybe.
Oh, I don't know if I should. Okay, so here, I'm trying to leave it a little vague, but the high school I go to right now,
Okay.
I actually transferred out of my old one to go to this one
Okay.
for their fine arts program for creative writing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I feel like that kind of took my hobby for creative writing into my full-blown academic career. So
Yeah. So that's your main focus now?
yeah.
That's awesome. And that's so cool that that's even a program for high schoolers to pursue an academic writing, path. I've never even heard of that before. Um, so what exactly, is there anything specific within creative writing that you're most passionate about?
Probably poetry, because it's kind of
Poetry?
like, you don't have to worry about grammar or sentence
Yeah,
structure.
exactly.
You
make
kind of
up your
just
own
brain
rules.
dump onto
Yeah.
a paper, and if
Yeah.
someone says something, you say, "This is art," and then
Yeah,
you give them a weird look.
It's how you interpret it. That is so funny.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then if a teacher gives you a bad grade on it, you can say the exact same to them.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll understand. It's
Mhm.
art. It's how you interpret it. Everyone sees it differently. So what are some of your longer term goals then? You're focusing on the creative writing. Is that something you want to pursue in college? Is there a specific major? I know you're only a freshman. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was a freshman in high school, so I don't want to throw this all on you. But do you have any idea?
I definitely don't want to pursue creative writing in college.
Okay.
Not something
Yeah.
I'm really that passionate about.
Sure.
Don't let my creative writing teacher find this, because literally the program is just for getting into college for creative writing. But I want to be a psychologist when I'm older. So.
Okay, that's awesome. So talking to more people, kind of similar to the Bloom role. I mean, I'm sure at some point talking to kids and
Mhm.
maybe getting to know them, providing some
Yeah.
insight. That's awesome. That's really cool that you have an idea of what you wanted to do. Because like I said, I was focused on moving to Japan at the time. I had no idea what I was doing. That's awesome. What do you want to what do you hope to see, Kait, moving forward for the military kid community? Obviously, you want to play a bigger role over the
Mhm.
next 4 years, I'm sure, working with
Yeah.
Bloom. What are some of your goals for the military kid community as a whole?
Some of my goals.
For everyone else, yeah. What do you want to see them do, all the kids?
I think right now, I'd say, like, for the entirety of the military kid
Yeah.
community, or just the military community, more support for
Mhm.
I'm
No, you're
blanking
fine.
right now.
You're
For
totally good.
education for military kids, because
Yeah.
it's really hard when you're moving around and there are just huge gaps in your education.
Yeah.
It's really hard to catch up while also like making friends and connecting to your new community and settling
Yeah.
in. And yeah, and
That
I
is
don't
really important.
I don't think school should be added to the list of to-dos for a new place that you move to.
Right, because it is really easy to fall behind because you're trying to prioritize making friends, getting involved, and then all of a sudden you put your academics on the back burner, and like you said, you can really lose a few years there if you're not focused on what you're doing, and you're just kind of like trying to get by, if that's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. Is there any other military kid issues that you're passionate about or affect you personally?
I don't really think so. I feel
Yeah.
like all military kid issues are important, but I
Mhm.
feel like that's
That's
something
fair.
that I'm just very passionate about, like,
That's great.
for myself.
Yeah. And what's some advice you have for military kids as a whole? Maybe, I mean, you're going into your freshman year of high school, so maybe
Yeah.
what about kids during their middle school years? What's really important for them to do during those years if they're moving between 6th and 8th grade? Any insight for them?
Oh, probably, I don't know. I guess, I don't know, this is a little cliche. Be yourself.
Yeah, no, it's
you
really
know,
important.
you're not going to make friends in a new place if you're
Mhm.
putting up an act, like,
Yeah.
to try and make people like you. I know this is a joke that I make on TikTok constantly of changing
Yeah.
your personality every time
Right,
you
yeah.
move, but I don't think that's something that, you should be focused on. I feel like what you should be focused on is, yourself and
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
what's best for you. So,
If you are putting on an act, those friends you're making, it's not real. It's not genuine because they don't
Yeah.
know who you truly are. And eventually you're going to get tired of the act and you won't even recognize yourself in a few years. So that is really
Mhm.
important. Be true to who you are, guys. Kay, I really appreciate you doing this. This was a lot of fun getting to know you. And I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to see what you do moving forward with Bloom and with your own high school career and beyond. You're always welcome here on the Shannon Show, that's for sure.
Thank you. This is great. I really enjoyed being here.
Yeah, anytime. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, as always, and make sure to subscribe, follow, whatever. Do all those fun things, guys. I'll see everyone next week. Thank you again, Kait.
Hey, get your numbers up. I had to get my numbers up.